Hello and welcome or welcome back. On today's video, we're going to compare a fragrance from the House of Chanel and the House of Dior. So I've got both of these beauties here. We have Sauvage Parfum and Bleu de Chanel Parfum. If you have noticed, I think they're very low, almost empty at this point. These fragrances are that way because I have tested them. I wanted to see which one was a better fragrance for you. I wanted to see which one wore better, which one was more unique, which one was more closer to the actual original one that was launched, which was the Eau de Toilette. I wanted it to compare and contrast everything to give you the most honest and the most unbiased review on YouTube, and I hope I'm doing that. I don't know. But let's get right into it to see which one of these is better for you. So starting off with pricing, Bleu de Chanel, this is the packaging that you will get, which is, it says Bleu de Chanel on the front, it says Parfum on it, and it's in a beige type of color. You also get a beige logo at the top. Very nice. This is a magnetic cap as well. It does have the Chanel's CCs inside of it, which is a very nice little touch there. You get a very nice presentation overall. It's a square bottle, but it's kind of chamfered like the Chanel number 5 bottles are, in a very different, more masculine type of way, of course. It is a thin bottle on the side, nothing on the back, and you'll get your Chanel information at the bottom. Very nice packaging, very simplistic. It is very reminiscent of a Chanel's packaging. I think it's actually the nicest packaging that they have for men's fragrances because although I love Allure, I think the packaging is a little outdated. Platinum Egoist, the packaging is outdated. Platinum, the packaging is outdated. And for Bleu de Chanel, it's updated. It's a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more timeless as well, which is what I like about this. Also, the nice thing about both of these, I will give them kudos for that, is that they have a darker glass. Now, I know some people don't like that. Some people like to see their liquid inside, but it actually does protect your fragrance and gives it a better lifespan. And it also does not go as bad as quickly because the lights are not damaging your fragrance. Nonetheless, do not put your fragrances under lights. I know that they look pretty in stores that way, but you're going to ruin your own fragrances, and they have a load of testers, in a drawer, and you do not. So the price for this, they come in 3 different sizes. So they have a 50 ml for 155, which is a 1.7 ounce bottle. They have a 100 ml or 3.4 ounce bottle for the cost of 185 US dollars. Then they also make a 150 ml bottle, which is going to be 5 fluid ounces for 220. So quite pricey. This is a lot more pricey than the Eau de Toilette. It's a lot more pricey than the Eau de Parfum. But that's to be expected. Now, just so you do know, let me take a quick look here. It says Parfum. And I don't think this is a real parfum. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I think they're eau de parfums, both of them, but they are listed as parfum. Traditionally, with fragrances, you had your parfums, which was the richest concentration. You also have extrait de parfums, but they were a lot more rare. But parfums were extremely expensive, and for them to be in a bottle for that cost is a little, don't believe it. It's diluted with alcohol. That's what I'm trying to say here. Both of these are going to be not necessarily a true parfum because parfums typically have a little bit more of an oily type of residue on your skin. Now, these are not going to have that. They are watered down parfums, which is eau de parfums, but they are doing a marketing gimmick here, which is selling you on the dream of owning a parfum this size, which would cost you thousands upon thousands of dollars to get one this size. But, it is what it is. I know a lot of brands are doing this. These were 2 of the original ones to do this, and it has become very popular. And then here we have Dior Parfum, which is essentially the same thing that the Eau de Toilette comes in. It's not very different, except you do get a Parfum logo there. You do get a CD at the bottom for Christian Dior, and then it's written on the sides, all the information, such as your batch code, the date of manufacturing, all that stuff is on there if you know how to read it. And it says Sauvage here. You get a CD at the top as well, and then you also get a little bumblebee inside, which is very reminiscent of the House of Dior. He was big into gardening, and that's why that is in there. Very nice little touches that, these luxury houses do take. I do like the sprayer on this one better because it's going to be a wafty, more, misty type of sprayer. Bleu de Chanel is not that bad, but it's not as good either. Like I said, if you ask me which packaging is actually nicer, I would probably go for Bleu de Chanel. I think it's a little bit, more classic, a little bit, more, I don't know, refined and elegant, and it would look good on any single type of bathroom counter, dresser, wherever you're putting this fragrance, it's gonna look nicer than this one. This one might not fit in necessarily. Just so you do know, Dior does offer a very nice little wooden cap, and I think it's an additional 50 US dollars, which if you want to switch and upgrade your, I think this is plastic, it might be metal, but I'm pretty sure it's plastic. You can upgrade that into a handcrafted wooden cap, and it's an additional $50. But the price point for Sauvage Parfum is a little bit different because they come in different sizes. So you get a 30 ml or 1 ounce bottle for the cost of $105. Then they upgrade not to a 50 ml but to a 60 ml or 2 fluid ounces for the cost of 150 US dollars. So you get another 10 mils more than Bleu de Chanel for essentially $5 less, which is a little bit better. And then they also manufacture a traditional, which is this size, 100 mil or 3.4 fluid ounces. And this is going to retail for 180 US dollars, which is again $5 cheaper than Bleu de Chanel. And then they make a 200 mil or 6.8 ounce bottle for the cost of 250. So Bleu de Chanel was giving you 150 mils or 5 ounces for the cost of 220. So $30 more, you get 50 more mils, and you get the big guy if you really like these fragrances. So on budget, this one's going to be a little bit better, not necessarily a lot. If you get the giant size, you're going to save a lot more money on this guy than you would on Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel was launched first in 2018, and then we got the release of Sauvage Parfum. I have said time and time again that both of these brands like to copy each other. So Bleu de Chanel was actually launched first, and then Sauvage was launched afterwards. I remember working for Dior and launching Sauvage. It was a giant triumph that we were beating Chanel, we were beating Acqua di Gio, we were beating everyone in sales with Sauvage, the other toilet at least. And it was a very big highlight in my career to be able to do that with Dior, and I was very excited. But the perfumer for this guy is Francois Demachy, and then we have Olivier Polge that manufactured Parfum, or Bleu de Chanel Parfum. The Chanel Parfum only has two different notes listed, which is going to be cedarwood and sandalwood. Obviously, you're going to get everything that the original Eau de Toilette has inside of it, and then some, and they might take out, an ingredient here or there, but, they're very secretive when it comes to their actual perfume notes at this point. I think it's because Chanel is so popular that everyone's trying to replicate or copy their success like they did with the Platinum Egoiste fragrance line, like they did with Allure. It is understandable. I really do like this fragrance overall. I think this is probably my favorite actual fragrance from the Bleu de Chanel line, because like I said, they do manufacture the Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum, the Parfum, and they do not make an elixir just yet. They might. I don't think that they would do that, but you never know. But this fragrance itself is a really nice one. It's my favorite one from this entire franchise, and this is probably one of my least favorite ones. Actually, I would say that the Eau de Parfum in the Sauvage range is my least favorite one for this range. This is my second favorite. I do like the Eau de Toilette the best. I think it's a better bang for your buck. This one has a few notes listed. So on your top, you're going to get mandarin orange and bergamot. Your middle notes, you're going to get Sichuan pepper, nutmeg, and lavender. And then in the base, we're going to get ambroxan, sandalwood, patchouli, tonka bean, Virginian cedarwood, and vanilla. So lots of notes listed for this guy here. And just so you do know, this is an ambroxan fragrance at heart. They were one of the first ones to do this, which was make this note or use a synthetic component that is called ambroxan. It's a very metallic type of note, and what I mean by that is the original de Toilette was very unique because it had all the things that were traditional to men's fragrance. Then they added, that ambroxan, which added a metallic flair to it. It made it, last longer. It made the fragrance a little bit more fresh, more vibrant, but a little bit more bad boy, kind of like a douchebaggy vibe to it. And there was nothing wrong with that. The fragrance did very well. I do like that they have kept the actual integrity of the actual fragrance and they have preserved it in this one. Now, what I will say about Sauvage de Parfum is that what really irks me about it is that they kind of did this, I don't know. They added these notes like nutmeg, vanilla, patchouli, sandalwood, and tonka bean. What that did to this fragrance is really made it from a very unique fragrance, which was the Eau de Toilette, and they made it a little bit more generic, more wearable, I guess what they would call a little bit more sophisticated and undetected. But with that being said, this fragrance, you could take away the ambroxan and put it on another, brand, and it would smell exactly like Y, or it would smell exactly like Valentino's fragrances or Armani's fragrances. And I think that's what they kind of did wrong with the Parfum. because they were trying to launch a fragrance that was similar to Bleu de Chanel Parfum. They kind of added those sweeter, more deep elements to this fragrance, and they kind of ruined it, if you ask me. I don't really care for this actual fragrance in particular, which is very different to what Chanel did with Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel as a fragrance itself was not revolutionary, it was not anything different, it was not anything to write home about. And I think that they actually made it a little bit more unique, a little bit more desirable by making it into a parfum, because you're grabbing that very traditional men's fragrance, which is Bleu de Chanel. It's a very generic type of scent, and you're adding depth to it, you're adding sophistication to it, you're adding a lot of really pretty elements to it that are going to make it, pop, but it's going to be, in a very subdued Chanel type of way. And Chanel really does this with their fragrances. They're able to make fragrances that are very, at this point, generic and add some flair to them that is very underrated, but it's also a very elegant touch. I think that's what they did so successfully with this one. Which one would I pick out of both of these? I will say that Sauvage, because it has that synthetic note of Ambrox and it's going to last a little bit longer. The Bleu de Chanel Parfum is not the longest lasting fragrance, but if that does not bother you, then I would certainly say to get Bleu de Chanel Parfum. To me, it's more unique. This one itself is like they just added some crap into a bottle and took some stuff out and decided to, call it a day and sell it and make more money because it has a parfum label to it. But it does have longer longevity, a little bit better of a shelf life as well, if you ask me. And this one is not going to do that, but you're getting such a fantastic fragrance with this one. To me, both of them are very different for different types of people. Sauvage at this point is kind of a douchebag fragrance, and so is a parfum, I'm not going to lie. And this one's going to be more of a sophisticated, deeper, more intelligent type of guy. So if you self-identify with either one of these, and definitely, pick which one you would like. But I do think that the Bleu de Chanel fragrance, the parfum, is a little bit better for my taste. I think that it's a little bit more wearable, it's a little bit more versatile, and it's also a very likable scent, but it's going to add that, deeper element to your personality, which is a really nice thing. And I think that this one works really well for all seasons. Definitely let me know what your guys' thoughts on these fragrances are. Have you tried either one of them? Which one do you like the most? To me, like I said, it's Bleu de Chanel Parfum all day, any day. I would repurchase this one, where I would not repurchase a Sauvage. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was just burnt out by smelling this every day when I worked for Dior. I mean, that very much could well be it, but this one itself is a nice fragrance as well. So don't get me wrong. I'm not, talking bad about either one of them. They're very good, but they're good for different types of people. Let me know down in the comments which one would you prefer, which one do you pick, which one do you not like, which one do you like. Let me know all that down below. Also, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more fragrance related content. And I hope to see you guys on the next video. Take care.